What's up, everybody? You are listening / watching to the X3 Drop. I'm Xell.
And I'm Ducky.
And today we're going to be talking about the most powerful / best red cards in One Piece, the trading card game. And before we get into that, of course, if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and go check out our Patreon. We've got some new little goodies up there. You can join our, premier Discord. Very, very fanciful. And then, of course, we are also offering the $10 tier if you guys want to watch the One Piece anime in its entirety with us. I think that one's an insane perk.
Yeah.
But it's something that we're both excited about. So, hey, go ahead and join that. Join the Discord. But yes, let's get on with the episode, which is coming out a day late. But
yeah, sorry about the delay. I unfortunately caught the case of the salmonella.
Yeah.
Just the most brutal food poisoning I think I've ever gotten.
Really?
I was projectile vomiting and out of both ends for like 3 days. It was crazy. I had not eaten anything, but there was still stuff coming out.
Dude, this was a mystery because it was our whole group that Saturday we all ate together on Friday night.
Yep.
And then again on Saturday afternoon, and 6 out of 8 of us fell victim to salmonella or whatever this was.
And only 2-3 people had the iron stomach. I don't know what kind of hockey you guys have in your stomach lining, but I need a piece of that. I need whatever training you got.
Yeah, I think I'm the only person who was there on both sides of the table and both days. So somehow I've escaped the calamity that has befell upon us.
You're just more evolved.
Yeah,
I'm willing to bet you're just more evolved. But man, yeah, I was out for the count 3-4 days, just completely. I lost a lot of weight though.
Yeah, hey, that's big for you.
Yeah, who needs Ozempic when you could just get salmonella
and spew things from both ends?
Yes, sir. Straight Niagara.
Yeah, but on both ends somehow.
Yes, absolutely.
But yes, let's get into today's topic.
Yep.
So again, we're gonna go through some of what we think are the most powerful red cards, and we've both separately put together our lists of top 10. And we're just going to talk about things card for card and then talk about why we place them where. And we've got a couple of criteria, right? If you want to bring that up.
Yeah. So some criteria in order to qualify you to be a part of the Hall of Fame, to be part of the X3 Drops professionally curated list of top 10 red cards ever printed.
Woo!
You must be flexible and versatile, right? How flexible and versatile are you as a card? How relevant are you to your respective meta? Is this card evergreen, or has it only seen play because one leader is particularly strong at one point in time?
Yeah.
What's the power level like, right? Is this card just strong on its own? Does it demand respect on its own? And how efficient and how valuable is this card, right? The text on this card should be very threatening. It should,
it is red after all.
Yeah, it should just have a ton of value embedded into its card.
Yeah.
So these are the criteria that I will rank my personal top 10 list off of.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I think I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
I think these are kind of my criteria as well. I tried at my best to not be too biased towards the recent metas, because obviously I think some cards just have sort of gotten better over the years.
Definitely. Power creep
they
is a
printed
thing.
Better cards. Yeah, exactly.
Power creep is definitely a thing.
And then at the same time, we both started playing a little bit after Red's heyday a little bit. We caught the tail end of it.
Definitely, yeah.
So
Whitebeard was still there.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Whitebeard was still there, still powerful.
Yeah. So there's probably going to be a little bit of, maybe, I don't know if I'd call it bias, but it changes our perspective a little bit because we didn't live through the red era the way some people have. So
yeah.
But anyways, let's do it.
So I'll get started here. Number 10 for me is a new card. Well, not new card. It is a OP10 card. The 3-cost Sanji.
3-cost Sanji, yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if did this card make it onto your list?
This card did make it onto my list. For me, it was number 9. So
number
very
9,
close
so
to
pretty close.
Yeah.
So I've got a few pros, listed on this card. I think that this is a premier 3-cost card that red just plays. In most red decks, if you need a curve out and you need a 3-cost card, most of the time, like 90% of the time, you're likely playing this card. It has great value. It's effectively a 3/6 attacker. You can't really defend it all that well because it's a 3/3 on defense.
Yeah.
But on KO, it draws you a card. It just cycles itself. That's just incredible value. It gets to swing for free. You got to develop a card that people still have to swing into. Otherwise, it's going to generate value over time. It cycles itself, and it has great typing, right? It's a Straw Hat type card.
Very relevant.
It's super relevant, super searchable. And not only is it a Straw Hat type card, it's also a Punk Hazard type card, right?
Yeah.
That one is a little bit less relevant, but having more typings is never a bad thing.
Yeah. I completely agree with everything you said. This card's just an absolute banger, right? Like, how absurd is it that it attacks as a 3/6?
Yeah, a 3/6. Red is crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. And then draws you a card.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why does it do
also
that?
Also not a brick.
Yeah.
This is a 1K.
Also a 1K.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world? Yeah, this card's absurd.
Yeah.
I think this is... I fear for the day this gets power crept, right? Because like this card has already got so many good things going for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's up there for me too. So at my number 9.
Yeah, your number 9. I do have the only reason why I think I have this kind of at my number 10 slot. I do have a con for it. It's that it likely won't see play after your 5 Dawn turn. Most of the time when you're playing red, after your 3 Dawn turn, you're playing stuff on curve, right? You want to play a 5 drop on 5, you want to play a 7 on 7, 9 on 9, etc. Right? So you're very likely not really playing this card after the early turns. So maybe you can search out this card 1 Dawn turn with your Nami searcher and then play it on 3. I don't know, say you don't have another play, you just likely won't play this card.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very small con considering that it has counter.
Definitely
right?
a small con because it has counter. Yes.
Yeah,
agreed.
Like compared to some other cards, like, you know, I think Shanks now is playing the Red Force stage.
Yep.
You do not want to be drawing that card after like the first turn.
Yeah, definitely.
And this card's still 1K.
Yeah.
So it's not even that bad.
No.
And then in the worst case scenario in the future too, like you can go wide, you know, like a deck like Zoro. Although I guess the new Zoro I don't think plays the 3-cost Sanji.
But it can.
But it could.
But it can.
It could. Good ass card. This card's absurdly good. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go
Okay,
next,
so to my number 10 card.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 10 card is Karasu.
Karasu. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, this is a card that didn't make it to my top 10.
Yeah.
But on the previous iteration of my list before I tweaked it, it was like number 4.
Okay, number 4 is absolutely insane.
It was number 4.
But Crowman just had to make it into my list.
Yeah.
And the reason why I needed it on my list is because just as a card, the effect is just so absurd. And we're kind of thankful that there hasn't been too many meta decks that can take advantage of it because of the whole, like, has to be in a Rev Army deck, whatever.
You know what's actually funny, though, is that you only have to be a Rev Army type leader for the on play. For the when attacking,
you can still do it.
You can still just do it.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So yeah, maybe there's a world where like could Sanji, Red Sanji, you play it and they turn them into a 4K. I don't know if that works or not. You know, give it a rush.
Sanji?
Yeah.
It's for non-on play stuff. So it does have an on play.
Yeah.
But even then, like, this is a card that, you know, checks a lot of the boxes for our criteria of Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
It's just a card that demands a lot of respect.
Yeah, anytime you're against a red-based Rev Army deck, you have to expect the Karasu coming down at some point.
This is played as an 8 of.
Yeah. Like I mean, if they could play 8 of this card, they would.
Absolutely
you would because
yeah.
it is a completely unique ability.
Yep.
There has never been an ability that shrinks your opponent's leader for the entire turn.
Yep.
And I think for that reason alone, I think this card merits some amount of respect and why I put it on here, even though quite technically it hasn't had much relevance to the meta, but I think it's just a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, for sure. It's just inherently so powerful and so valuable, right? It's just it's insane value. Like if you have a board of 5 and your leader, that's just 6K worth of swings that you get for free as an on play and when attacking. It just accrues value so quickly.
Yeah, if you've never been on the back end of double Karasu, where one comes down on play, you're a 4K. Another one comes, one that was on board already swings, you're a 3K.
Yeah.
I'm shivering.
You're dead.
Yeah, you're
dead. You're
just
dead. You're just dead.
Yeah, so I think this card's really good. What's funny, though, is that with all the cards that have been sort of announced recently, I wonder how good Karasu will be in the future because, like, everyone's a 7K now, apparently. So,
well, if everybody's a 7K and everyone's an 8K,
does that mean this card's better?
This card is insane, right? It makes you 5K base.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was my.
This is just honest 10. One Piece. Yeah. Bring you down to a 5K.
Like, wait, who? I don't even know who the designer of One Piece is. I don't know his name. In Magic, we always say, like, as Garfield intended it. But I don't know who that person would be.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Alrighty, moving on.
All right. So, number 9 on my list is 3-cost Chopper from OP08.
Oh, the one that's reading.
The one that's reading. The one that's played in every animal list ever.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think that this card has insane value. Just like Karasu does. It has an on-play and when attacking.
Yeah.
So it has insane value. You already get 2 bodies for the cost of 1 body. This guy demands an answer almost immediately. Otherwise, you accrue value just way too quickly. Way too efficiently. It's also Straw Hat typing, so very searchable. Really can make any red deck viable through the animal package alone.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah.
Animal Marco. Put him on the map.
Yep.
And its only cons that I can think of are that it's a brick and it's kind of only used in the animal package for the aggressive type builds for certain red decks.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like, I think this card is absolutely incredible. Another pro that I have is that he can read, allegedly. He's got a book.
He's a doctor. He has a PhD.
Yeah, but I want to ask you the question here. This Tony Chopper card is a strike attribute. Why is he not wisdom attribute if he's reading a book?
He's a doctor with hands, okay?
I don't
He fights in the street. He's like an underground doctor.
Those eyes are dead. They're not reading a single page of that book. I promise you, he is reading absolutely nothing.
It's just Fight Club. He's just reading Fight Club.
He is not reading nothing. He is dead inside this guy. Strike attribute.
You had him at number 9.
I had him at 9.
I have him even higher.
That's crazy.
I have him at number 7.
There are so many good red cards. But okay, speak to 7. Speak to 7.
Yeah, I mean, red has historically been one of the strongest colors in One Piece. Sure. So making this list is, of course, just a struggle in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put him at 7 because he's the linchpin to an archetype that, like you said, just makes any red deck possible.
Yeah.
Right? Like any red deck that you were like, oh, maybe it's not that good or whatever. Well, he makes it possible for that red deck to exist. And so like if the archetype is that powerful that like every red deck could consider playing that package, there has to be something said about the power level. Like the only minus thing about it is that like you have to dedicate so many card slots to the animal package. And that is okay, because like again, you play this because you're trying to be aggressive and you want to get on the board fast. And yeah, I think this card is just absurd. 3 cost 5K means that it's statted like a vanilla card, gives you those extra bodies, demands an answer, is even scarier in multiples. So you're not like, oh, I don't want too many in my hand. Like on your 6th on turn, you just happily play both. Yeah. So yeah, I think this card is absurd. Makes so many decks possible. So I think for me it just is that high for me.
Yeah, I mean I buy it. Yeah. I only had it at 9 because this guy doesn't know how to read. I promise you, he doesn't know how to
read. Dude, he's a doctor. He's a doctor.
I don't believe it. Change it to wisdom, and he'll be number 5 on my list. Okay.
Okay. So I guess going down the list then for my number 8.
Yeah.
Chill Luffy.
Wow, Chill Luffy is number 8. Okay.
I just think, oh god, my first 5 cards on this list, I was like, oh, of course, and then I got the Chill Luffy, and I was like, oh man, I need to put him somewhere, because I think this card is broken.
Yeah,
this card's broken.
It's broken, but it's number 8.
But it's number 8 because red's so
crazy.
Good. It's so good.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just like this card also kind of like these other cards that we talked about, like 3-cost Sanji, since its release has just been thrown into every deck list that has red in it, right?
Yeah.
Like it naturally just synergizes super well with Zoro. It gives an aggressive 5-cost body to Shanks. It's just so versatile and good. Again, anything that is Straw Hat typing is just kind of put up above a little bit, because like it just means that that package already exists. So it's kind of hard to separate that card from the package that it's in. But even despite that, like on its own, it gets thrown into decks. So
yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if there are any relevant red decks that don't play this card.
Yeah, I think John's list and Whitebeard plays it. Zoro obviously plays it.
Yeah.
Shanks
Red Green Smoker
plays it. Red Green Smoker
does play it or does not?
I think they do.
Right.
But maybe not as like a 4 of.
Yeah.
I'm not sure actually.
I mean, the only kind of like quote unquote relevant red deck that I feel doesn't play this is maybe Bella Betty, but that's because it's entirely reliant on having Rev Army cards and trigger cards. So you don't really have space to play it.
Mm-hmm.
If they did have space to play it, if this card had a trigger, even a non-relevant trigger, a trigger that just reads do nothing, it would play it.
Yeah, and like speaking to that, like there's a bunch of fringe decks that would play this. Like Red Yellow Sabo would play it. It's a 5-cost Luffy that you can cheat out with the babies.
Yep.
You would also play it potentially in just in Rev Army shells in general, because it hits that 7K mark perfectly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this card is just phenomenal. My only minus against it is, strangely enough, I think this is like one of the only cards on my list that I think could, actually that's not true, that could get power crept.
That's crazy to say, because this card is insanely strong.
Yeah, this card's already insanely strong, but a couple of the minuses is that, generally speaking, you look at this as a 5/7 rusher, right? 5-cost 7K rusher. But sometimes it doesn't do that, depending on like what you're able to play out, right? So like on your lethal turns, when you're swinging with it, like you need to play something else to make sure that Rested Dawn goes somewhere.
Yeah.
So like on that front, there's like a space for weakness on this card.
Yeah, okay, I kind of see what you're saying here.
Yeah.
It's also a brick.
Yeah, it's also a brick. Yeah,
but it has rush. I feel like every rush card should be
just
a
so
brick.
good.
It just needs to be a brick.
Yeah. And yeah, so in any case, I think those are the kind of things that kind of brought that down. Okay, we'll just be less purple now.
Yeah.
But those were those were the reasons why it wasn't higher up for me. Like this card, I think for a lot of people would be very high up, depending. I'm curious where you put it on your list, or if it made it at all.
It was on my list.
Oh, it was.
It's number 3.
Number 3.
It's number 3. Okay. For such a chill guy, he is so violent.
He is violent.
Like, in my head, the cards that are insanely powerful are the cards that just demand an answer right away. Otherwise, they snowball. Like, you have to have an answer to this card. If you don't answer this card, the turn that it swings, it already gets immediate value. Yeah. Because it's a rush card,
rusher,
and it's a when attacking. It's not even an on play. So it doesn't get turned off by Blackbeard like 7-cost Ace does.
Yeah.
It just gets immediate value without having an on play effect. And if you don't answer it, it gets the Rested Dawn again the following turn.
Yeah, as long as you keep developing.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you, but I think there were enough demerits on this card that I couldn't put it any higher.
This card is so good.
This card is really good.
This card is so good. But I can see why you put it there on your list. Number 8 for me. I'm about to venture into the land of the events.
Ooh, yeah. Red has a lot of great events. So
yeah. I've got the tried, the true Radical Beam.
Radical Beam.
I've got Radical Beam at number 8. Yeah. This card has been evergreen since its inception.
OP01. Yeah.
OP01 since its inception, right? Like it even got limited.
Yeah, it was limited. I think it straight up got banned, right? In that like weird.
Oh, I think you're right. It did get
for like that little short period of time.
Yeah. This card is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
At least at the time it was.
Yeah,
it got power crept a little bit by cards like Gum Gum Giant.
Yeah.
Since then, but Red still doesn't have that much access to quote unquote insanely powerful, insanely efficient counter events. Rad Beam is probably the best it's gotten, and you're going to see red decks play Rad Beam for defense probably until
forever,
until better option.
Yeah, until Red gets its own Gum Gum Giant. Hopefully not, but
it's insanely flexible, right? It doesn't require you to play any package at all. It is a Straw Hat type card, so it is searchable.
Yep.
It's an event, so it's searchable by Buggy, it's searchable by Nami. But you don't have to be like a Straw Hat leader to play this. And it does have a condition that you have to have 2 or less life, but that condition is like super reasonable.
Yeah,
it's not anything like super crazy. Most of the time at that point in the game where you need to be playing this event, you will have 2 or less life. And it also just has a relevant trigger, right? It's not an amazing trigger, but plus 1k for the turn. It can bail you out of
it has bailed me out before, for sure.
Definitely. So this is number 8 on my list.
That's number 8. You want to know where it's on my list. This one's really high for me.
Is that high?
It's at number 3.
Number 3. So that's my chill guy spot.
Oh, really? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So the reason why
I kind of swapped a little bit there.
I think Radical Beam low-key was kind of a design mistake to begin with. Like, I think that the fact that it cares about your own life was just a mistake as a condition, because it is just so easy for red decks to meet. Red decks generally in the history of One Piece have always leaned aggressive, and Radical Beam just makes racing this deck so impossible, right? And now we've gotten to the point in the game where, like, you know, I think Pluffy, for example, in OP09 got to a point where like you could outrace a red deck for once. But I think like Radical Beam was just so ever present since the beginning of the game, like we said, that for me it deserved a higher spot in my list. It's still relevant today. Decks will continue to play this forever. I'm haunted by the days of Whitebeard. You know, like the 2 life thing. Well, that's where they are all the time, anyways.
Yeah.
And you know,
they don't have a choice.
Yeah. I'll never forget swinging 22k at a Whitebeard, and then they go red beam,
Dude,
point.
I remember playing my first game against a Whitebeard ever. I had no idea. Guess who it was? JCM. This is like my first game against a Whitebeard ever. I didn't know what the leader does. I don't know what any of the cards are.
Yeah.
I just have this big ass swing with King Kong gun, and I'm like, yeah. It's 22 lead for he's just dead. I don't know why this guy is even playing still. Rad beam, 0 cost, 2k, 1k. What is this deck, man? What is that?
Yeah. I mean, I think anyone who has played against JCM and just like that Whitebeard era, like, will have memories of Radical Beam. And again, the fact that it is still playable in 2025 One Piece just tells me how powerful this card is. So.
It's quote unquote evergreen.
Yeah. And yeah, again, I still maintain that I think it's a design mistake. The fact that it cares about your own life like that is just crazy. So number 3 for me. Okay, so we've gone through my 10, 9, 8, 7. So next is my number 6 on my list. My number 6 is 5 cost Marco.
Pop Marco.
Yeah, Pop Marco.
Okay, this one didn't quite make it on my list, but it is in my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I think the card is quite good.
Yeah, I think this card, maybe this is a little bit of bias again for me, but this card was very played back when I first started, and is now continuing to see play in like the control shells of Shanks, and that just tells me how powerful this card is.
Yeah.
And I think like, again, this idea that you can on-play KO something has always been good across all TCGs forever. So like anytime they call them Chupacabras or Necrotals in Magic the Gathering, any card with this effect is just very powerful. But then on top of that, it's also very sticky as a body.
It's insanely sticky.
Yeah, and like it makes a lot of your opponent's decisions sort of like impossible to make at times, where you're like, well, I I'm getting pressured by this Marco that's a 6K body that sometimes swings 7K at me, and I don't know how much to invest into trying to kill it, because if I go too high on it, they can pitch an event, and now I've used so many more resources than this guy.
Yeah, swinging 2 over into
Yeah.
a 6K body, like swinging 8 into a 6.
Yeah.
And they can just pitch 1 card and
Yeah.
save it. You're
terrible.
Yeah, you're not on the good end of that trade.
Yeah, it feels god awful. And so I feel like so many times this card creates these sort of weird, like, not checkmate scenarios necessarily, but just really uncomfortable spots. And
For sure.
I think it's just such a raw, powerful card that I had it very high on my list. That's my reasoning for.
I can totally see that. Yeah,
it's a 1K.
It is a 1K, like a 5/6 body, 1K attached that has an on play effect that's very relevant and has an on KO effect also insanely relevant. Like, this is just a good card.
Yeah, and pitching an event in red, dude, we just talked about Radical Beam and how
Yep.
good, it's not like red has a shortage of good events to play, and we're getting more, by the way.
Yeah.
And
A lot more.
A lot more
Yeah.
with the Rayleigh support. So I just think this card might be evergreen.
Yeah, I can see that. Speaking of events, this Marco didn't quite make it onto my top 10 list, but I did have it in my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
But a card that did make it onto my list as my number 7, speaking of events, I have Gum Gum Mole Gun.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Mole Pistol?
Yeah. Mole gun pistol?
Yeah.
Mole...
I think this card is insane, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is now the premier removal piece of removal tool that red decks have in like every archetype, right?
Yeah.
If you're playing Red Green Smoker, you're playing this card. If you're playing Shanks and you're looking for removal, you're likely playing this card. If you're playing like the Straw Hat package, if you're playing Zoro, you're playing this card.
Yeah.
It's just great value, right? For 4 Dawn, you get a pop a 7K body. It's flexible. It's a great answer to walls like 8-cost Kid. You can shrink a body, pop a chump blocker, and swing into the shrunken body. And it has an activate main trigger.
Yeah.
So now you have to be kind of, conscious of, dang, how do I sequence my swings so that it doesn't absolutely screw me over when I swing into their
It can
life?
feel like a beige out of life sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The only con that I have for this card is that it does have a condition. However, that condition is not very difficult to meet.
Yeah.
So this is number 7 on my list.
This card didn't make it
No?
into my list, nor did I put it on my honorable mentions.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
I think this card is ridiculous.
I think this card is good. It's just that certain decks are the only ones that are able to consistently make it worthwhile. And I think it's like meta dependent. And so I feel like there are enough things that are conditional about this card that I didn't want to put it on my list. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because like I get where you're coming from. Especially right now, it's super relevant because like answering a 7K body right now is as hot as it's ever been.
Right.
And I can see where you're coming from. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like sometimes like against a removal heavy deck like Lucci or Shanks, sometimes you don't have that body, in order to play it out. And like it's hard to both play a 6K body and a mole gun without it being your entire turn. So like the mole gun has to do a lot of work there. So for me, I felt like this was just a hair too conditional for me to want to put
Didn't quite make it?
Yeah. But no doubt it's a powerful card.
Yeah. So for me to catch up a little bit, you've already...
Yeah, we've gone through quite a few of my lists.
Yeah, you've gone through your number 6 already, right?
Yes.
So my number 6 is a Monkey D Dragon.
Yeah. This card's powerful.
Is this on your list?
It's didn't make my list, but
Okay.
it is in my honorable mentions. This one is like probably my first actual snub. And I was debating with myself very heavily on trying to get this in because I do think this card is so absurd.
This card is insanely strong, right?
Yeah.
It's an 8/9 rusher that has an on play that gives something to Dawn. It's just insanely efficient.
Yeah.
Right. For how much it costs, it does so much. It's great value, and it's a huge body. 8/9. This is likely to stay for the rest of the game. It's very likely to just not be removed straight up unless you're playing it into like black.
Yeah.
The only con that I can think of for this card is that it's a brick. That's really it.
And it's like hardly. I mean, sometimes it feels really bad when you draw like 4 of them. Let's say you're playing Shanks or whatever. But man, this card does so much work in so many matchups, and it's used in across all things. Like this card is, like you said, it's just premier. It's just premier level, and you play it on 8. You get to swing 7-9, which just naturally are amazing numbers to be aggressive with, and. I think one of the most absurd parts about this card is that the Dawn can be attached to itself. So not only is it just an 8-9 rusher, it can be an 8-11 rusher at times.
It's just selfish.
Yeah.
It's just a selfish card.
Why is he like that?
Yeah.
It's like, he's like...
Truly a deadbeat dad. This guy.
I was going to say, where's the alimony? You know?
He left to go get milk a while ago, attached it onto himself.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'll come back for you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Never came back.
Left for 2 Dawn and never came back.
Yep, never came back.
This card is really absurd and was very close to making my list. The only reason I kept it out was just honestly, I don't even know.
Yeah, it just barely didn't make it, right?
Yeah, it just barely didn't make it for me. But I think it definitely deserves a shout, and I think this is a card that I have a hard time seeing ever gets power crept in the future.
Yeah, it's good as hell. This card is good as hell.
Also, not to mention, like the attaching to the Dawn is also very relevant, especially the 2 Dawn part to red cards in general. Like there are so many card effects that require you to attach Dawn for red. You know, especially like we think of Zoro Leader, obviously, but also like some of the other red cards they printed with the starter deck Luffy, the red one, with all these effects require 2 Dawn placed onto it. So like
unblockable Luffy.
Yeah, unblockable Luffy. Like
father and son.
Yeah,
father and son.
Yeah,
the synergy. You guys cooked on this one, Bandai. Yeah. You guys cooked.
So I like when I look at that card, maybe it should have bumped out at least Karasu on my list. Yeah. I'm now kind of rethinking a little bit.
Karasu's so powerful.
But I love that card.
Pre-errata, that was my number
4. So that was your number.
That was my number 6.
Number 6. Okay, so what was your number 5 then?
My number 5. We are now creeping into the realm of the 2Ks.
Oh, okay. Red's got some banger 2Ks.
Red's got some banger 2Ks. And for number 5, oh mama, I've got Otama.
Woo! Otama's a banger.
Otama is so good.
Yeah.
This checks like almost every box for me, right? It's a 2K at worst. It's insanely flexible. It is like the premier red shrinker that you'll play in every deck.
Yeah.
It's just so good. It's insane.
This card's my number 2.
That's number 2. I can see that. I can for sure see that.
For a little time, this on my list, it was my number 1.
Yeah.
It was just so high up there. This card is sort of Red's Great Eruption in a lot of ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
I can totally see that.
Just that, you know, Red as an archetype cares a lot about these sort of like power matters things. But on top of that, like combat is so central to this game. And sometimes that minus 2K is all you need in order to clear the board or whatever. It's just so versatile. I think it tells me a lot that like so many decks will run this even though they have 0 searchers for it. You know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, its typing isn't awesome. It's not Wano country.
Yeah, like no. There hasn't really been a Wano country red deck. I'm sorry, Red Green Odin fans. I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna say it. Everyone was thinking it, but you guys haven't really been that relevant.
Damn!
I apologize.
Monkey DBZ Luffy. I'm sorry.
and despite that, Otama just sees 4 of play in across all red decks.
Yeah, actually, straight up, I don't know that there are very many red decks that don't play 4 copies of Otama.
It's that good.
Insane,
It's that good. So yeah, for me, this card is one of the linchpins of red as a color.
Yeah.
And again, it's just one of those things where like I have no idea how you could ever power creep this card unless they just gave it Straw Hat typing.
Yeah, you could give it better typing.
And that's it.
Yeah. You can make it a chopper that's actually reading a book.
Yeah. Is she wisdom? Yeah. What is she?
Special.
She do be special.
She's
Dude,
special.
also Otama, like, oh, God, there's been so many crazy plays across time with this card, too, where I remember Red-Green Law would bounce it back and forth in order to shrink things and then get it in range of, like, Vistas or Marcos or whatever.
Yeah.
This card's just so absurd, man.
You know, more than this card being akin to Great Eruption, this kind of reminds me a bit of Suru in black.
Yeah.
Right? It's
very
just,
very
yeah.
analog.
Yeah, right. Just shrink something by 2. Is a 2K body, super flexible.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2K counter.
Yeah.
And is insanely flexible.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I think, if we were to compare across colors, this one again, I think is just strictly better than Suru in the fact that like, regardless of color, you care about the power of your characters when you're defending them.
Yeah, yeah.
And like Otama just forces another 2K 1K if they
Yep.
want to defend. So
Yeah.
good. Okay. Anyways.
Very good. Very efficient.
Is it my turn? Is it my turn now?
Yeah, this was my number 5.
That was your number 5. Okay, my number 5. We're bringing it back old school.
Okay.
Rush 3 cost Zoro.
Okay, Rush 3 cost Zoro. I knew that this was gonna sneak onto your stupid violent list.
Yeah, this dude. If I had to defend myself with my list, I don't have a lot of counter because I got a lot of bricks on my list.
I'm gonna be honest, Red don't got that much counter.
Yeah. So I put 3 cost Zoro, which I think is a card that is like, in some ways, sort of out of vogue. Like I feel like it's one of those cards that's like, quickly leaving the meta.
I think so.
At places like, I feel like we've gotten to a point where like we've just gotten to cards that are just so powerful that like even this card starts to feel weak, which is crazy to me. But this card is sort of like a kind of like Otama for me, sort of so central to red as a color over the years that like I knew I needed to make space on my list for this card. It has just been the linchpin of red aggro decks since the dawn of time.
Yeah, definitely. It just 3/5 rusher, vanilla stat body, straw hat type. It's also a supernova, right?
Oh, is it really? It might be. I actually don't know.
It might be.
Yeah.
Because you play it in red green law?
Red,
searchable
green,
question mark?
I don't think he's searchable.
Maybe he's just straw hat then?
I think he's just straw hat.
Okay, well, I mean...
But yeah, I just think this card is very flexible. The fact that it's 3/5 body, so vanilla stat line, and then it has rush, it just means like in multiples, it's just easy swings. And it's just like, it feels very low cost. And of course, it sucks that it doesn't have counter. It's a brick. But you usually don't care in the late game because you're just going to play them out. Yeah. So I just feel like there aren't that many weaknesses for this card. And man, boy, this card has seen so much play over the 2 years that this game has existed.
Yeah. Didn't quite make it onto my list, Rush Zoro, but for sure on my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
It's just a card that I think, like you said earlier, has kind of, phased out of favor a little bit, but I think is something that's pretty evergreen. Like it's a card that if you're playing red aggro, this is like the first card you think of.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like, am I playing Rush Zoro here?
Bro, put some respect on his name.
Yeah.
He's like the Wilt Chamberlain of the
Yeah,
of
I guess
red cards.
the only con I could think of for that card is that maybe the 3 cost Sanji is just better as a 3 cost slot now because it has more value. It's a 3/6. You do have to wait a turn for it to develop, but it does draw you a card and it swings for 6 for free ski. And it's a 1K.
It is absurd.
I don't know. That card is good, man.
Yeah, having another 3 cost directly in the same typing and everything, and it's not a brick too. So
that was the only reason why Rush Zoro wasn't on my top 10 list is because I wanted 1 3 costs on there, and those two were directly competing, and I think Sanji had just barely edged it out for me.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. Zoro's just the GOAT for me. So
Zoro's very good.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one. Zoro's very good. That was your number 5?
This was my number 5.
All right. Well, I can move on to number 4.
Okay.
Number 4, we're going on to the big leagues.
Okay.
The big dogs. I got 10 cost Shanks.
10 cost Shanks.
I got 10 cost Shanks. 10, 12.
Sheesh.
Shrink
Which one?
everything.
Sorry.
Shanks. Shrink everything.
Yeah.
Shanks, man. This guy is absurd. He's a 10-12 rusher. He's insanely big. He's huge.
He's humongous.
He is huge. The value is crazy. Shrinks everything by 1K minus your leader. And once he hits the board, he's likely never to leave.
That'd be true.
This guy is a virus. There is no cure to this man.
And like a virus, sometimes they got multiples of them.
Yeah. And I just caught one this last weekend.
Yeah.
The only cons for this card is that it's a brick like a lot of the powerful red cards.
Yeah.
But it also takes your whole turn.
Yes.
But if you are able to play this card successfully, safely, you very likely just win the game.
Yeah, very, very frequently this just locks the door.
Yeah, like most decks cannot come back from I don't know, let's say Shanks has 2 life, 5 cards in hand. This comes down on board. You can't come back from that. There's no way you're coming back from that.
He presents a clock, which is really interesting because like you'd think like as a 10-12 you're like, oh, the clock's on them, but it's really the other way around because like eventually you get to a point where you just can't outvalue this card, and over time it's like every turn that this card sticks is just the door closing shut on your chances of winning that game. So
the light is dimming.
Yeah. Please save me. Where's the light?
The tunnel is closing.
So I think this card is absurdly good. But it didn't make my list.
That didn't make your list?
It didn't make my list.
How did that not make your This is almost my number 1 card.
Wait, really?
Yeah, this card is crazy.
I think this card's good, but I don't think it's that good.
Every time I see somebody play this card, I'm like, fuck.
I get where you're coming from, but I feel like this card so
I have nightmares about this card. This didn't make it onto your list.
Your therapy session's tomorrow, Josh, okay?
Oh my
you can talk to
-1K, -1K, No, dude. No.
The war flashbacks.
It's crazy. This card is insane.
I think this card's amazing. Don't get me wrong. I just think that one is that the only deck that has really been relevant in the meta that plays it is Shanks, and I guess you could say red purple Luffy a little bit too.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with this card is that it's a 10 cost.
Yeah.
And I think like there are so many scenarios as the person playing this card that you're like, either one, the ship has sailed, you're too far behind, and if you play this card, you can't leave up the events or whatever to keep you alive, or
unless you were playing red purple Luffy, you got that Don Quixote Rosinante.
Yeah, and then whoop, whoop, you get the 2 back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Disgusting combo.
But yeah, I think that that as a 10 cost, like kind of the difference between it and like say 10 cost Big Mom, for example, is that like Big Mom represents like a way to progress the board, which, you know, again, I think Shanks does because it has rush, but also gives you that defensive, like having that life is usually so big in terms of like getting that extra turn to be able to actually, utilize the big body of Big Mom.
For sure.
So that was kind of like my demerits for it, is like, I think this card is very, very good. I just think that I've been on so many ends of like Shanks where their hands full of them and you can't do anything with them. Like you don't get the chance to even play one.
I've been on the opposite end of that.
Dude, I play Dofi, so I don't know. Maybe I'm Dofi pilled. So like
every time the 8 Dawn turn comes around, there's a card. There's a card I know that they're gonna play that's gonna give me nightmares.
Yeah.
The 10 Dawn turn comes around, they better be at 1 life.
Yeah.
If they're not at 1 life, this game is over.
Yeah.
That's why I think this card is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, again, don't get me wrong. I think this card's good, but I don't, dude. I wonder if it's just because I played mostly Dofi during 09 and you played Pluffy, so we have very different experiences with this card. But like in my head, I'm like, Red Rock. I don't know. So,
this card is so crazy.
Okay, so you want to hear my number 4?
Yeah, what's your number 4?
You kind of already alluded to it just now, but my number 4 is good old Dark King Silver's Rayleigh.
I can't believe he's only 4 for you.
Yeah, he's 4. Okay, so we've already talked about my 2 and 3, which was Otama Radbeam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Otama Radbeam are above Rayleigh for me.
Rayleigh is my number 2.
Rayleigh's your number 2, yeah.
This is the card that I dread to see the most.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think this is every red every person who's playing against a red deck, this is your nightmare.
Yeah, absurd card.
Yes.
Insane value. 8K body. Huge. The only kind of demerit that this card has is that it's not searchable.
Exactly. That's the only thing keeping us safe from this card.
Yeah, the second this card becomes searchable in any like relevant regard, it becomes probably the best red card to be ever printed.
Yeah,
insane.
I sincerely think this might be one of the best cards ever printed for red.
Yeah.
And the only reason why it's a little bit less high than some of the other cards is just because it's a little bit less like universal, like it obviously wants you to play a control style of red, which like we're getting more decks that do that now for red. But historically red has always been an aggressive color, so that's why I put it a little bit lower. But holy moly, this card is crazy. -3, -2, and you pop something that doesn't have to be one of the -3, -2, and it lasts a full turn cycle.
It lasts a full turn cycle, which
What?
is absurd. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's Mole Pistol times 2, basically,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
like, boom, you -3 something, you swing into it. Oh, on your turn, you can't even fight back.
You
Fight
can't.
back!
Yeah. You
Come
can't.
at me!
Swing! You won't!
You
swing!
can't!
Yeah.
This card's so
My
crazy.
6K body is a 3K! What are you talking about?
You're a little child.
Yeah.
You're toast. This card's so absurd. Yeah.
This card is insanely strong. Definitely the card that I hate the most when I'm playing against red decks. I really, really do not want to see this card being played on 8, much less 10 Dawn, right?
Yep.
You play this on 10 Dawn, you have 2 up for Red Hawk, for Rad Beam, for Guard Point.
Yeah.
Absurd.
Yeah, I think the 8/8 body, you can say is like a little unimpressive for an 8 cost,
No.
but it's pretty dang good.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
He swam across like the East Blue or whatever, right?
This guy is in the chunkless.
Yeah.
This guy is crazy.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
8 cost, so he's sticky. 8K body, he gets around power base removal too, and 8K is just a great number to be swinging at in general.
Yep.
It's like there's like so little minuses to this card, and it's usually backbreaking.
Yeah.
If you see 2 Rayleighs in most of your matchups in Shanks, like if you could just like if you were a cheater and you just had 2 Rayleighs in your sleeve, like you wouldn't lose any games.
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
not. No.
so-
Yeah. So what number was Rayleigh for you?
So Rayleigh for me was my number 4.
Was your number 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4 was the 10 cost Shanks for me. I guess I'll go to number 3. We
Yeah.
already talked about him, but Chill Guy was my number 3.
Oh, the Chill Guy. Yeah.
yeah.
Chill Guy was your
my number 3,
Yeah.
and then Rayleigh was my number 2.
Okay.
So we can go. Yeah.
Number 1.
So Rayleigh was your number 4. Number 3 was
Rad Beam.
Rad Beam. Number 2 was Otama.
Otama.
So I think at this point, the elephant or whale in the room that we haven't talked about yet, that
Yeah.
I have a feeling is both number 1 on our list.
Moby Dick.
The Mobus, the Dickus, big boat,
Yeah.
sperm whale.
Yeah.
This card is absolutely insane. Granted, this was before both of our time,
This was, yeah.
so I'd love to have JCM here to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
to talk about
We've only heard legends,
Yeah.
stories, hand-woven tales about this card.
the great pillages that this guy has made on the boat. But just reading, I remember getting into the game and then checking out the ban list, like, what kind of cards are banned in this game? There's only been 4 sets that came out, 5 sets that came out. What cards are banned here? Moby Dick. If you have 1 or less life cards, your Edward Newgate and all of your characters with Whitebeard Pirates gain plus 2,000 power. 2,000? 2,000?
2000 is so crazy.
You have 5 character slots and a leader. That is 12K in power
brother.
for 2 Dawn.
brother.
For 2 Dawn.
Yeah.
And that's not for 1 turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a stage.
That's a stage.
Yeah.
That happens every single turn when you develop this card. It's insane value. It's inexpensive. It makes your Whitebeard leader an 8K. That's crazy. It also has a trigger.
Yeah.
It has a trigger that reads, play this card. The dick comes out of nowhere. What is this?
Yeah, it's like some woman's poor DMs on Twitter. It's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
the dick just comes
Yeah,
out.
it just comes out,
Yeah.
man. Straight nudes.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, this card, I can't imagine what it was like playing against. Like, who thought this was a good idea?
I don't know. I'm also curious. Like, do you know how quickly this card got banned?
So I actually did a bit of research into this, and for Japan, they had it for quite some time.
That's crazy.
Which is tough. For us, I think we only
you
had
know-
it legal for like a month or so.
It's because Japan's birth rates are so low. They needed more. They needed more sperm.
Bring in the dicks.
Bring in the Moby Dick.
I think Japan as a society probably have enough dicks. I think that's not the problem. They
Yeah,
have,
maybe
but-
not. Yeah, maybe it might not be. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like this card was only legal for like a month, and I looked at those tournament reports. I've never okay, so we complain Sakazuki era and
Sure.
whatever, and I think the last Treasure Cup, Eggman finally posted that, and like half of it is GP Luffy.
Yeah.
But I have never seen a top 32 where all decks were one deck, Whitebeard.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah, there's never been a more polarizing meta than
Yeah,
that.
yeah, like legitimately, I think it was top 16, not top 32, but still.
I believe it's top 32.
All 16 decks were Whitebeard.
Yeah,
like
it's unprecedented.
That's first of all, that's terrible for the game. But two is like that's how powerful this card was, and like, when eventually when we get to the point where we talk about blue cards, it's unfortunate because like we'll never know what a world with like Kabaji Moji will look like.
Honestly, that might be for the better.
Yeah.
To be honest, like coming from a guy who loves playing Nami as much as the next dude, that card is crazy.
They had to nerf Adam somehow.
Yeah. Adam has already won too many serials.
Yeah. But the special thing is like we got to see that card in action at its absurd height, and to be honest, we didn't even see it at its potential highest because Moby Dick came out in OP02. Which was before OP03 came out, and OP03 was the set that actually bolstered the Whitebeard pirates even more.
What came out in OP03?
So Ezo didn't exist, for example. Yeah,
Ezo Searcher.
They didn't have a searcher. So I think at the time people were like, "Oh, maybe Strawbeard's better."
Yeah,
and people were waffling between the two. But like Boatbeard was impossible to deal with, and the thought of like Ezos now are also potentially 5K swingers with one done. I mean, it means that like every piece of cardboard you have on your board is now a lethal threat.
Yeah. Your 2Ks are just huge, right? Your Diamond Jozus that you never play out for rushers. With this card, it becomes insanely big. Are you kidding me?
It's absurd. Like every piece of card that you have is just so lethal. Are your Marcos that have been popping things?
Yep.
They're 5/8s.
Yeah. Oh, my 7-cost ace. Shrink here,
swing
9 lead. What the heck? 9 lead.
Oh my god, that is so absurd. Yeah, this card is banned for a reason. It's funny because like every time the ban thing comes up, people are like, like what if we unbanned it?
No,
I don't think you want to see that world.
No, I think there are certain cards in the ban list that deserve to be banned.
Yeah.
Like there are certain things that were included on the ban list as like maybe a temporary fix or like a band-aid solution.
Yeah.
To like certain metas that we had, like that temporary Whitebeard ban, the Curly Dedan list, etc.
Yeah.
I think that was a good call because the meta was so polarizing at the time that they just really needed to tone it down until the new set came in.
Yeah.
So that people wouldn't hang themselves from every scaffolding in their apartment.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good thing. But this card, I think, should never see the light of day.
Never should see the light of day. And from what I remember, too, with speaking to some of the people about Boatbeard, it was that there was also just a factor of it was very frustrating.
Yeah.
Because you could both be playing Whitebeard, you're here to abuse the boat, and one person gets it as a trigger and one person doesn't see it.
Yeah.
And like that skews games so absurdly hard.
Yeah.
And so, I think from a fun perspective, from a power level perspective, like this card needed to go.
Yep.
Thank God.
Yeah. So that had made it onto both you and I number one list. I think unsurprisingly so.
Yeah.
And deservedly so. But I also have some honorable mentions that we didn't quite talk about yet.
That's true. Yeah.
We had talked about Karasu already. But we didn't talk about, I think, some staples in aggro that didn't quite make it onto my top 10 list, but I think we should, deserve an honorable mention or a shout out. Makino and Buggy.
Yes, the one cost package.
Yeah. So Buggy being an insanely powerful card, just flexible in searching any event, any red event. It's a 1/3, incredible stat line. It is a brick, but man, what a frustrating card. Can't die to slash.
Oh
this is the only Buggy card that cannot die to slash. Every other Buggy card can die to slash.
What the heck?
I don't know
what is that about.
I don't know. Even the blue Buggy card, the Impel Down Buggy, that searches you an Impel Down card, the one where he's literally in pieces, that one can die to slash.
That's so weird.
Yeah, this is the only one that doesn't. So interesting there. Makino, kind of self-explanatory. incredible value, makes your 1-cost searchers into
Beaters.
Yeah, threats, and at worst it's a 2K.
Yeah.
It also is not an on-play card. It's an activate main, so it's a card that demands an answer.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't leave it rested, right? You can't just choose like, oh, maybe I'll just swing at something else. Nope.
No,
You've got to get rid of it.
Yeah, that thing's got to go.
Other honorable mentions for we just talked about it actually a minute ago, but 7-cost ace.
7-cost ace, yeah.
I think this card is so good.
It is so good.
There's, again, we've mentioned JCM at least 10 times a podcast.
Yeah.
We should just be like the JCM cast. But,
yeah, true.
Against Whitebeard, usually the idea is that you are poking him down.
Yep.
And 7-cost ace is just such a punishing card for any time someone is like going wide and poking you. Oh, you tax 6K at me? Okay, well now I play ace, and now my 3K is attack into your cards. Like, what?
Yeah.
Or you had 5Ks on board that swung? Yeah, now I swing 2 into 5 with all my searchers that I played out, and then I still have a 7K rusher to attack with. Like, this card's absurd.
Yeah. It's just incredibly efficient.
Yeah,
it's just super good. High value.
Only reason why I don't have it higher is just that it's leader locked. So
yes. Also, it's technically an on-play effect.
Yeah.
So it does get turned off by Blackbeard. So that is also a little demerit for me as well. That's why I didn't make it onto my list. And speaking of leader locked cards that didn't quite make it onto my list, but I wanted to give a special shout out to Lucky Roo.
Oh, yeah.
Lucky Roo, yeah. So it's leader locked to Red Hair Pirates, but an insanely efficient card. 4/5 blocker that just trades for a 6K body is just so good.
It's so funny because before the podcast, we were kind of like compiling our list of cards that we would maybe potentially talk about, and I left it out. Again, I think it's so funny because, like, again, I come from like a Dofi perspective and you come from a Floofy perspective. So you're like, oh man, they played Lucky Roo. Oh,
it's cooked.
Man, it's cooked.
It's so cooked.
And in my case, I'm like, oh, I'm
bouncing them. I'm bouncing it.
Bounce law, baby.
Yeah.
Another card that was on my honorable mentions is 5-cost unblockable Luffy.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so
the
funny.
OG.
Yeah, the OG. It's so funny because nowadays, like, that card feels so unplayable because there have been so many cards now that they've sort of added that make blockers less useful, right?
Sure.
It's like 10-cost Roger comes down, makes it hard for you to block things. We have the new Sanji 2K that turns a Straw Hat into something unblockable.
Jambe.
We've always had Diable Jambe. And so this card is kind of less unique than it once was. But man, back in the day, this card was a nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, its stat line is also just good.
Yeah.
It's a
5/6
rusher. It's just good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Straw Hat.
Good enough for me.
Yeah, I think deserves an honorable mention. And you mentioned this gentleman a little earlier, Golden D. Roger.
Yes.
This is also on my honorable mentions list. Just a card that demands a lot of respect.
Yeah.
It didn't quite make it onto my list because you can play around him, and he's a little bit of a niche card.
Yeah.
But is a card that will just entirely win you the game on the spot as a single card.
Yeah.
So just very, very, very strong.
I think on this list, the Roger probably is one of the cards that like most people have scooped to the most, out of the things. But this card is just so absurd and changes a lot of the way you play against decks like Shanks and stuff like that because it deserves respect because oftentimes if you don't respect it, you will lose to it.
Yeah, you can't just go down willy-nilly to 0 and then block her up.
Yeah.
You'll die.
You will die.
Yeah.
You will die. So
yeah. Another honorable mention, I want to give a special shout out to the Raise Maxes, the Building Snakes, the Gordons of the world.
Yeah.
Your 1-cost brick that minuses 3.
By
something.
3, yeah.
These are, I think, they just barely didn't make my list because I think these cards are extremely, extremely flexible. And there are multiple prints of this card. So depending on what kind of archetype you're running, can be more versatile and more searchable. Based on your leader or what have you. And shrinking by 3 is actually quite a big deal compared to Otama.
Yeah.
The only thing is that Otama is a 2K and these are bricks. So that is a big demerit for me.
There's definitely a huge cost to running these cards. And somebody who has survived the RP Law era. I say survived like I wasn't the one playing that deck. But
yeah.
yeah, that card's absurd.
Yeah. And the last one on my list here that we haven't talked about quite yet is the 7-drop Newgate 7-beard.
Yep, 7 beards up there.
So this is a very efficient card, right? It's a 7/8. It is a brick, but it has value the turn it's played. It has an on-play effect that gives you Arrested Dawn, and it has an activate main that just pops a 5k. So it has immediate value. Even though it's not a rusher, it has immediate value. It's a big body. It's huge. And it single-handedly just makes the Marco leader insanely scary.
Yeah, and not only just Marco, the Shanks plays this. It just synergizes super well with just red as a color.
Yeah.
Was this before Jack or was this after Jack came out?
This is ST, so this was
I don't remember when
after
set came out.
I think it was after.
It was after? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, just having your own version of Jack is an absurdly good card.
Mm-hmm.
And just, again, one of those things, red historically has been the aggro color, but thanks to cards like this and Rayleigh, control red is now a real deal.
Mm-hmm. This is the card that single-handedly destroys Vegapunk. Vegapunk will not see the light of day when 7-beard is alive.
Just crying.
Yep, he's just there, just swinging his thing, just killing everybody on Egghead, just absolutely demolishing them.
My last card that I had on my list that we didn't quite make it even into my honorable mentions, but I guess I'll give it a shout out anyways, is the 9-cost Newgate.
Oh, yes, 9-cost Newgate.
Yeah, the
Quite
one that gives
card.
you plus 2k. It's funny, again, this card, I think, is getting power crept a bit.
Yeah.
And I think this card, just doesn't have the same oomph that it used to. Still absurdly good.
Yeah, another one of those back-breaking cards, right?
Yeah.
If it just comes down at the right time in the right spot of the game, it's so hard to come back from that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Defensively, an incredible card. Offensively, an incredible card. Just gets rid of chump blockers and makes your leader insanely tanky. Not to mention, if you're Whitebeard, it also just demands a lot of respect.
Yeah. Strangely enough, this is not leader locked too.
No,
so,
it's not.
Lots of different decks. Maybe it should have been. Actually, I'm putting it on my honorable mentions.
Yeah,
I think this card is.
This one.
I think this card does deserve a mention because like you said before, it can oftentimes produce checkmate results, right? You play it in RP Law or RP Luffy, you're an 8k leader for the turn.
Yeah.
It also doesn't take up your entire turn either. You can hold up Gum Giant or Rad Beam or whatever. How are you getting through this, man?
Yeah. It's crazy that I forgot about this card too because I lost to this exact card at Pasadena top 32 my last round against Saz.
Oh, he's famous for that card.
He was playing the 9-gate in Shanks and I did not expect him to play that and it ruined my entire turn. I did not think he was going to play that and it completely locked me out and just won him the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, boom.
Very good card. Very, very good card.
Sorry to bring up your trauma like that.
It's all right. I had to dig a little deep for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are our top 10 best red cards ever printed.
Okay, so let's do a real fast recap here. You want to read down your list from 10 to 1?
Yeah, so from 10 to 1, I've got 3-cost Sanji at number 10. Number 9, I've got 3-cost Book Chopper. Number 8, I've got Radical Beam. 7, I've got Gum Mole Gun. 6, I've got Monkey D Dragon. 5, Otama. 4, Shanks, 10-cost Shanks. 3, 5-cost Chill Guy Luffy. 2, I've got Silver's Rayleigh. And number 1, the Sperm Whale.
Yep, Mr. Moby Dick. Okay, so for me, my top 10, starting from 10, Karasu at number 10, 3-cost Sanji for number 9, Chill Luffy at number 8, Book Chopper at 7, 5-cost Marco at 6, 3-cost Zoro at 5, Rayleigh at 4, Radical Beam at 3, Otama 2, and Moby Dick 1. We actually came up with a very similar list, although we had very different rankings on them. But
Chill Guy was high for me. Yeah.
So, would you change anything about your list after talking it through?
Nah. I think my list is professionally curated. You guys in the comments let me know whose list is better.
Yeah,
mine
actually.
or Xell's.
Want to put a bow bet on that one?
I think mine's better.
Mine's better for sure.
That's crazy.
Comments, you got me, right?
Hey, Ducky Nation. Hey, rise up. Rise up.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for this episode of the podcast. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Again, as a reminder, please like, comment, subscribe. It helps us so much. And again, check out the Patreons. And with that, we will see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.
See ya.